What happens when politicians and activists claim to speak for immigrants, and then the immigrants themselves show up and say, no, you don't? Because this is exactly what just unfolded in New York City, and it sent shockwaves straight through the left. Zoran Mamdani, he put his name, his credibility, and his politics behind a pro-Maduro protest that was meant to embarrass Donald J. Trump. But the message was simple. America bad, socialism good, Nicolas Maduro misunderstood. But then something happened that they never planned for. Venezuelan immigrants, the very people who fled Venezuela, walked right into that protest and they flipped the entire script. No slogans, no theory, just real lived reality. And in a matter of minutes, the protest collapsed under the weight of truth. This wasn't random. This was organized activism. Groups like the Party for Socialism and Liberation and networks tied to the People's Forum, meeting the one thing that they can't control, people who actually lived under socialism. Now, if you've ever felt gaslit by politicians who claim moral authority while ignoring real world consequences, if you've ever watched elites speak about suffering that they've never personally experienced, then what happened in NYC explains everything. Because this wasn't just a protest that failed. This was a narrative that imploded live, unscripted, and impossible to spin. Now, before we continue, today's video is sponsored by Noble Gold Investment. Now, this all goes down in New York City, where a pro-Maduro protest organized by the Party for Socialism and Liberation was supposed to be a clean, controlled media moment. Now, the goal was simple: shame Donald J. Trump, condemn the removal of Nicolas Maduro, and present the American left as morally superior defenders of the oppressed. And standing right there, lending political cover, was Zoran Mamdani, who clearly believed that this would play well with activists and the press. But then the unexpected happened. Venezuelan immigrants, people who actually fled Venezuela, they walked straight into the protest, not quietly, not politely. They confronted it. They celebrated Maduro's fall. They rejected the narrative in real time. And in that moment right there, the entire protest snapped. What was supposed to be some moral lecture turned into a public contradiction that the left just could not explain away. Then, and let's be very clear here, Zoran Mamdani didn't stumble into this. He chose it. Mamdani, he publicly opposed Donald J. Trump over the handling of Nicolas Maduro, framing Trump's actions as imperialism and regime change. Politically, Mamdani assumed that the math was safe. New York City, progressive base, activist media, no downside. But here's the problem. He bet everything on a narrative that completely collapses the second that reality shows up. So the moment that Venezuelan immigrants rejected his framing openly, loudly, on camera, Mamdani, he was exposed. Not as controversial, as disconnected. Because when the people who lived under Maduro side with Trump, the entire moral hierarchy flips. Now, all of a sudden, Mamdani wasn't speaking for immigrants. He was speaking over them. And what was supposed to be an anti-Trump statement became a live demonstration of why elite activism keeps losing credibility with the very communities that it claims to represent. New Year's resolutions, they always sound great on January 1st, don't they? But by January 10th, reality hits. And in a world where politicians miscalculate, narratives collapse, and markets react fast, one resolution actually does matter this year: getting your finances in order the right way. Not just chasing growth, but protecting what you've already built. This is where Noble Gold Investment comes in. For over a decade, Noble Gold has helped Americans add physical gold and silver to their portfolios, real assets that don't depend on political spin, market hype, or overnight narratives. When volatility hits, protection matters. And if this sounds complicated, it's not. It starts with a simple conversation about your goals, no pressure, no gimmicks, just clear answers and a strategy built around you. Make this the year that you stop putting it off and actually get your finances in order. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. I'll left a link for you down below. All right, so let's get back to what they really didn't want you to notice. So what made this blow up even faster was that this wasn't some spontaneous gathering. Behind the scenes, activist infrastructure tied to the People's Forum mobilized demonstrators with remarkable speed. I mean, within hours of the news involving Nicolas Maduro, a full-on protest appeared in New York City, complete with printed signs, coordinated chants, and familiar socialist branding. This is why this moment matters. This wasn't organic outrage from Venezuelans. This was a second front response, an ideological reflex designed to counter Donald J. Trump before the narrative hardened. Guys, I'm talking about groups like Party for Socialism and Liberation. They know the playbook, fled the streets early, dominate visuals, and frame dissent as imperialism. But the speed exposed the weakness. When Venezuelan immigrants showed up, the contrast was impossible to ignore. One side had slogans, but the other had scars. And no amount of coordination could paper over the difference once the cameras started rolling. And so this is where the story gets even more uncomfortable for the activist class. The organizing web behind these protests leads right on back again and again to funding questions surrounding Neville Roy Singham. Singham, a wealthy financier living abroad, has been repeatedly linked to ideological protests aligned with the Chinese Communist Party. Now, I want you to think about the optics, okay? You have American activists accusing Donald J. Trump of imperialism, while protests opposing him are allegedly bankrolled by money tied to a foreign communist power. Now, that contradiction matters because it reframes what happened in New York City, not as grassroots resistance, but as narrative warfare. And when Venezuelan immigrants, people who actually escaped state-controlled economies, call this out implicitly just by rejecting the protests, it raises a brutal question. Who is actually being represented here? Because this certainly was not the people of Venezuela. So this is the moment that no amount of messaging could contain. Venezuelan immigrants, people who fled Venezuela under Nicolas Maduro, didn't just disagree quietly. They confronted the protests head on camera, in real time, in New York City. They celebrated Maduro's fall. They thanked Donald J. Trump, and they dismantled the imperialism narrative without slogans or theory. Just lived experience. When asked why they were celebrating, the answer wasn't abstract. It was personal. Prison, hunger, corruption, fear. This is what flipped the script. The Party for Socialism and Liberation had megaphones. Venezuelans had truth. And once those two collided, the protest lost control of its own message. So the chants didn't land. The signs didn't persuade. The moment belonged to the people who actually survived the system being defended. So here's why this moment cuts so deep. The entire protest hinged on moral authority. I mean, the claim was simple. We speak for the oppressed. But when the Venezuelan diaspora openly sided with Donald J. Trump, the authority evaporated. Because once the people who fled Venezuela reject your narrative, you don't just get to keep on pretending that you represent them. That's the rupture. Activists like Zorhan Mamdani, they weren't just disagreed with, they were exposed as ideologically disconnected. The left relies on abstraction, systems, theories, slogans. The diaspora relies on memory, and memory wins every single time. When Venezuelans cheer on the fall of Nicolas Maduro, it doesn't just undermine a protest, it invalidates an entire worldview that was built on speaking about suffering instead of listening to those who actually lived it. So this is where the chant war for oil completely falls apart. Donald J. Trump didn't talk about Venezuelan oil as conquest. He framed it as leverage, stabilization, and reconstruction after the collapse that was caused by Nicolas Maduro himself. So that distinction matters because it reframes everything that the protesters were shouting. Under Nicolas Maduro, oil production in Venezuela cratered. Infrastructure decayed, corruption exploded, the wealth that could have fed and employed millions, it vanished. Trump's position was blunt. Resources should be used to rebuild, not to prop up a failed socialist regime. And Venezuelan immigrants, they understood this immediately. This is why their reaction in New York City was so powerful. They didn't hear imperialism. They heard opportunity, jobs, stability, and an end to the system that destroyed their country. All of a sudden, the protesters, they weren't defending peace, they were defending ruin. So the organizers that were linked to the Party for Socialism and Liberation and supported by networks around the People's Forum, they expected compliance. They expected silence. They expected moral deference. But what they got instead was rejection. They weren't ready for Venezuela to speak back. They were not ready for cameras to capture confusion, anger, and retreat. They were not ready for Zorhan Mamdani to basically be put in a position where defending the protest meant defending a dictator that the diaspora despised. This is what happens when ideology meets reality. The protests relied on controlled messaging. Reality doesn't cooperate. Once Venezuelan migrants challenged the narrative, everything unraveled. Chants lost rhythm, signs looked hollow, and the moral posture completely collapsed. In that moment, the protests stopped being a movement and they became a spectacle of miscalculation. So this is the trap that Democrats like Zoran Mamdani are stuck in right now. On the one side, you've got this loud activist base that, groups that are tied to the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and of course, the People's Forum that demands ideological purity and public confrontation with Donald J. Trump. But on the other side, you got immigrant communities who work, vote, raise families, and they don't share these socialist sympathies. The NYC protests forced that contradiction into the open. Venezuelan immigrants, they weren't interested in the theory, they were interested in outcomes, safety, stability, opportunity. And when they publicly rejected the protest message, it signaled a deeper problem for Democrats. The coalition that they talked about isn't the coalition that shows up. Mamdani didn't just misread a protest, he misread the people. And when voters see politicians defending ideologies that immigrants fled, it erodes trust real fast, especially in cities that Democrats assume are politically locked down. So once the visuals hit social media, there was no saving it. Communist flags, awkward chants, protesters yelling imperialism while Venezuelans cheered the fall of Nicolas Maduro. In New York City, the contrast was brutal and it was impossible to spin. This wasn't a messaging loss. This was an optics disaster, the kind that lingers, the kind that turns a planned anti-Trump movement into a viral embarrassment. Every chant fell flat once Venezuelans called it out. Every sign looked performative once reality spoke louder. And the worst part for the left, the footage didn't need commentary. It explained itself. Venezuelans celebrating, protesters confused, Zoran Mamdani boxed into a narrative that he could no longer control. This is how movements collapse. Not with a rebuttal, but with a moment that's so clear that no explanation can fix it. Now, this moment in New York City wasn't just a protest gone wrong. It was a warning to Democrats who assume that immigrant communities will automatically align with radical activist politics. This is a warning to figures like Zoran Mamdani that ideological theater doesn't survive contact with lived experience. And it's also a warning that the activist coalitions built around slogans are far weaker than they appear. Now, for Donald J. Trump, this moment reinforced something that his critics keep on missing. Immigrant voters, especially those who escaped socialism, they're responding to results, not rhetoric. Venezuelans cheering the fall of Nicolas Maduro didn't do it because of party loyalty. They did it because they know what failure looks like. And going forward, this is the shift that Democrats were not prepared for. The moral monopoly is gone. The narrative gatekeeping is broken. And when reality keeps siding with lived experience over ideology, moments like this just stop being exceptions and they start becoming patterns. That's the real story out of New York City. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. I'll see you next time.